So I tested Chick-fil-A on my continuous glucose monitor and it took my blood sugar to the moon. I was absolutely shocked how many people in the comments section thought it was normal. For the record, I am not diabetic. I'm very fit and healthy. So now I'm going to test 4 whole eggs cooked in bacon grease and 4 pieces of bacon. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a normal blood sugar response to eating a healthy meal. As you can see, no.
The reason why people are scared of elevated blood glucose in the first place is because chronically elevated blood glucose, which occurs in diabetics, can begin to damage the blood vessels and the nerves. But as you can see, his blood glucose came down almost immediately after consuming this meal. If for some reason his blood glucose didn't elevate after the ingestion of carbohydrates, that would indicate he was simply unable to absorb his food. In order for glucose to get inside of your cells and your cells to function properly, glucose first has to enter your bloodstream. And given that your blood glucose comes down, that means your cells have uptaken that glucose and are properly utilizing it. This is not pathological and should not be framed as such. And yes, after the extremely high-fat, low-carbohydrate meal, his blood glucose didn't change. But what absolutely would have changed is his blood triglycerides, which is a measurement of blood fat content. And we know that chronic elevations in blood triglycerides can increase the risk of neurodegenerative disorders and drastically increase the risk of cardiovascular and vascular disease. But given this individual is healthy, we would also assume his blood triglycerides would elevate and subsequently come back down to normal, meaning that neither of these are pathological situations. Elevated blood glucose is dangerous when chronically elevated, in the same way that chronic elevations in blood triglycerides are also very dangerous. But there is no way getting around an increase in blood glucose and blood triglycerides after eating food, because there is simply no other way for food to get from our mouth, go through the digestive tract, and get into our cells without it first entering the bloodstream, and raising the amount of glucose and or triglycerides in our bloodstream. Therefore, if this graph was actually a blood triglyceride monitor, it would look just as, if not more scary, than the blood glucose monitor that occurred after consuming the higher carbohydrate meal.